The Cleveland Browns can shock the NFL next season. This team has a lot of talent, so let's get straight into this thing. Last season was basically a waste year for the Cleveland Browns. It was just basically we're waiting for Deshaun Watson to get on the field to see what we have, because last season, in the offseason, this team made a major move. They went out there and traded for star quarterback Deshaun Watson. You gave up multiple first-round picks and gave him a huge contract extension that is still being felt to this day. And some people say it's a bit of an overpay. Some people say, hey, that's the price of you just doing business. The last time we saw Deshaun Watson in the full season, he had 33 passing touchdowns to just 7 interceptions. That's the Deshaun Watson you're going to need moving forward. And a lot of people are low on the Cleveland Browns right now because of their defense and some of the cap situation they're going through. They can restructure the Deshaun Watson deal, and I expect them to. But you still have a lot of good talent on this team, such as Amari Cooper, who had 1,160 receiving yards and 9 touchdowns. Then you have Donovan Peoples-Jones as well, who I like a lot. 839 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns. He solidified himself as being a number 2 wide receiver in the NFL and will be very good moving forward alongside Amari Cooper. You still have David Njoku on this team with 628 receiving yards and 4 touchdowns. Deals with injuries here and there. Hasn't lived up to being that first-round pick, but he's a good receiving tight end at times, and he can be a good safety blanket option for Deshaun Watson. We can give Deshaun Watson a full time and give him a full year to be in this system. Because remember, last year when he was suffering that 11-game suspension, he wasn't able to fully train with the team during that suspension. He wasn't able to be at training camp. He wasn't able to just work with the team in the team facility. He gets to be able to work with these guys now and be with them for a full offseason, get to be with them for OTAs, and he doesn't have to deal with anything off the field. He can just focus mainly on the game of football, and that's what a lot of people didn't take into account. The man still had to deal with some things off the field. Let's hope that all of that is behind him now and they can just move forward, because if they can get the Deshaun Watson that Deshaun Watson was with the Houston Texans, this team, the sky's the limit for this team. He was one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL when they made that trade. And that's the guy they need moving forward. The offensive line definitely needs to play better. You know, Jedrick Wills Jr. has not been the same tackle from his rookie season. The play has slacked off a lot. But if he can get back into his form of what he was his rookie season when Baker Mayfield was there and when that team beat the Pittsburgh Steelers in the playoffs, he was one of the best young offensive tackles in the NFL, and he was selected in the first round to be a franchise tackle for this team. If he can play better and they can just seal up the edge, continue to let Jack Conklin do his thing on the right side, you could be looking at a situation to where Deshaun Watson could be one of the best quarterbacks in the league again if he could pick his play up and also work with that run game, because the Cleveland Browns have one of the best run games in all the NFL. They were 6th in rushing offense. They're always top 10 or top 5 in rushing offense since they got Nick Chubb. And that's credit to the big guys up front. The pass blocking at times last season did bother me. It wasn't the best. But one thing about the Cleveland Browns, they can run the football with Nick Chubb. And I expect for Kareem Hunt to leave in the offseason because of the Deshaun Watson deal, Myles Garrett, and Amari Cooper contracts. But having Nick Chubb on this team on a team-friendly deal helps out as well. 1,525 receiving yards and 12 touchdowns. The play action with this team, and we saw it at glimpses in this of the last season, the play action with this team can be very, very useful and can be very, very dangerous for opposing defenses. It comes down, can Kevin Stefanski call the right plays? We saw what he did with Baker Mayfield. He had a tremendous play call for Baker Mayfield. Now he needs to up it just a little bit more. And Kevin Stefanski hasn't been in the best situation. Baker Mayfield was not the best quarterback with his team. He went out there and traded for Deshaun Watson. He wasn't able to fully play with you just yet. They had to go out there and go with Jacoby Brissett. So I expect for Kevin Stefanski to get another year or two with this team. But if they continue to not live up to expectations, they may be looking to bring in a new head coach as well. But if he can just continue to do what he's doing, calling the good run plays, calling the good bubble screens, tunnel screens, and just use his team to the best of Deshaun Watson's liking, I think the Cleveland Browns can make a lot of noise. Now, on the defensive side, was a huge question mark last season. They were 5th in pass defense, but their rushing defense was horrendous. They were 24th in rushing defense, and they lacked pass rush besides Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett is one of the best pass rushers in the league, back-to-back seasons with 16 sacks and 2 forced fumbles this season. He is a phenomenal pass rusher, and he has lived up to being the first overall pick. But you got to get more pass rush alongside him. They had Jadeveon Clowney. He will not be back with his team next season. He wasn't able to to get off the edge and give Myles Garrett that help. But they need to go out there and find a guy that can match the intensity and match the level of Myles Garrett. But Myles Garrett on his own can generate a lot of pressure off that edge, and he will open up things for other guys as well. That's why I didn't really understand why Jadeveon Clowney was complaining so much, saying that he wasn't able to really fit into the system when Myles Garrett is literally getting double and triple teamed sometimes, and he's also getting chip blocked by tight ends, and he's still finding a way to go out there and get to the quarterback. He's not even getting cleanup sacks. These are just sacks of him just powering through offensive tackles and getting to the next level. And another reason why I'm so high on the Cleveland Browns, they play the best team in this division, the toughest. They play the Cincinnati Bengals very tough because of their pass rush with Myles Garrett and crew, and their secondary. Denzel Ward and crew always come up and play big against the Cincinnati Bengals. And I believe Deshaun Watson can get back to that standard. I know that I keep saying that, but it's a huge emphasis on that. Deshaun Watson, if he could just be half of what he was with the Houston Texans against teams like the Cincinnati Bengals and teams like the Pittsburgh Steelers, they could be able to beat teams in their division, and that's how you ultimately go to the NFL playoffs. They're bringing in a brand new defensive coordinator in Jim Schwartz. I believe that he's a major upgrade over Joe Woods. Joe Woods did have some nice games this season to where he called some nice plays, but towards the end of the games, he was just having a total brain lapse. And you look at what happened in the New York Jets game. No way the Cleveland Browns should be out there losing to Joe Flacco and crew when they were up big in that game. And the last 3 minutes of that game was all in the defense. The defense couldn't stop a nosebleed, and they couldn't stop the pass attack of Joe Flacco. So they ended up losing that game. And it was a lot of games this year that didn't go the Cleveland Browns' way because of that defense. And I believe that Jim Schwartz has been around the league for some time now, former head coach. He would bring that intensity that this team needs. And this defense can just get better in the rushing department because they were 24th in rushing defense. They should be fine. They should be better. And I understand that they were 5th in pass defense, but at the same time, it didn't look like it. Like I said, against the New York Jets, they struggled against the pass. And Denzel Ward has been a fine corner, hasn't lived up to being high of a first-round pick that they selected him in, but he has been a good corner for this team. I expect for him to take a jump as well, and they need to stay healthy on the defensive end. If they can stay healthy with guys like Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, I believe that he will get better at the linebacker position. I like Greg Newsome as well. I like his pairing with Denzel Ward. I like Grant Delpit. He just has to stay healthy. They're going to have a safety problem as well because you cut Johnson, your safety. I expect for them to go out there in free agency and try to get a guy like a Jesse Bates and also get some defensive linemen up front like a Fletcher Cox to just get some veteran influence on that defensive line to help stop that run because this team needs an opposing defensive tackle that can just go out there, clog up the lane, and they need to get another pass rusher. Not a guy that can just get you 12 plus sacks a season, but just a guy that can just create pressure and let Myles Garrett do his thing so he doesn't have to get double covered in the entire game. I think the Cleveland Browns have the right tools and the right players on this team to go out there and do the best that they can do moving forward. Let me know in the comment section. How do you feel about the Cleveland Browns? Is this a team that's going to make the NFL playoffs, or will they just be a team that fizzles out? When you look at the division, it is tough. The Pittsburgh Steelers play tough defense. They're always a tough nagging team. The Cincinnati Bengals are a powerhouse right now. But like I said, the Cleveland Browns always play up with this team as well. And look at the Baltimore Ravens. When they bring back Lamar Jackson, it seems likely, but how will he look with this team moving forward? So it's a tough division that they're in, but the Cleveland Browns could be the second best team in this division, or they could be the worst team in this division. So it just depends on how Deshaun Watson can play and the play calls as well. So let me know how you feel in the comment section below, and what major moves should this team make moving forward. I think that getting Jesse Bates from Cincinnati Bengals would be huge. Fill in that safety position. He's going to come in immediately and be the best safety on this team and will help out that secondary as a whole and get some more defensive linemen that can help out Myles Garrett and can stop the run. But let me know how you feel about the Cleveland Browns moving forward. Do you think Deshaun Watson will go back to being his old self next season? New to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, want each and every last one, guys, stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for watching the video, guys. Peace.